In this video, I'll be making a combat system in Roblox Studio. So let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go to replicated storage and you want to insert a remote event. Now we're going to name this remote event attack event. We're going to go to server script service now and we're going to insert a server script. And I'm going to name this script attack script. The last thing you want to do is you want to go down to starter player, click the drop down arrow over here, and insert a local script under starter player scripts. And I'm just going to name the script attack client. Now I'm just going to close these scripts for now. So the next thing we want to do is we want to create an animation. Basically what you want to do is you want to go under avatar and you want to go under rig builder. So I open up this rig builder and for this video I'm going to create an R6 combat system. So I'm going to select the R6 option and I'm going to select the block avatar. So now we've inserted a rig into our workspace and we're going to set up the animations. So you can go ahead and open the animation editor. So the first thing you want to do is you want to select the rig we're going to animate. So we're going to select this guy over here and then we can start animating. So for our combat system, I'm going to create a punch and a kick animation. In the interest of saving time, I've pre-made the kick and the punch animations. If you want to learn how to make these animations, you can check out my How to Animate in Roblox Studio video, and I can leave an info card right about now. The important thing to remember is that when you're finishing your animation, you want to set the animation priority to action, and you want to save the animation ID somewhere safe. So I can quickly run through my punch animation to show you what it looks like. So the first thing my character does is he leans back, and then he throws his fist forward, and that kind of simulates the punch. Alright, and this is what my kick animation looks like. So it's a little more complicated. But basically what my character does is he kind of does a 360 with his arms out in the air and he lifts his leg up to do that final lethal kick, and then he goes back to his resting position. So once you've finished the two animations, just make sure you have the two animation IDs saved and we can move on to the next part. Alright, so the first thing you want to do now is you want to close the animation editor and you want to go to our attack client script. So we're going to start scripting here. So the first thing you want to do is you want to get the replicated storage. Then you want to get the user input service. Next, we're going to get the run service. We're going to get the remote event now. So we're going to do local attack event equals replicated storage, wait for child, attack event. Now we're going to get the player. And then we're going to get the character. We're going to get the animator. So this basically plays the animations that's inside your player's character. We're also going to have a variable that will keep track of our cooldowns. We're going to use the user input service so that we can play our animations by pressing keys on our keyboard. So we're going to have the letter E activate the punch ability, and we're going to have the letter Q activate the kick ability. So we're going to do user input service dot input began connect function input game processed. We're going to make sure our cooldown is up. So we don't want our players activating the abilities a million times a second. So we're going to do if os.clock is greater than next attack, then next attack equals os.clock plus 1. So we're going to give them a 1 second cooldown between attacks. Next, we're going to check which key they pressed. So if they press the E key, they want to punch. So what we're going to do is we're going to fire the attack event. And we're going to send in the argument punch. We're also going to check if the player already has the punch animation inside. So if they don't have it inside, we're going to add the animation inside the character so they can play it. Local punch animation equals instance.new animation punch animation ID equals rbx asset ID : // and this is where you paste in your animation ID. Next, we're going to parent the animation to the player's character. And we're going to name the animation punch. And we're going to do local punch track equals animator load animation character find first child punch. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to play the animation. So we're going to do punch track play. Now we also want an else if statement to check if the key that the player pressed was a Q. So we're going to do else if input.keycode equals enum.keycode Q. So essentially we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to play the kick animation instead. So we're going to fire the remote event. Instead, we're passing the argument kick. We're going to check if the player doesn't have the kick animation. And if they don't, we're going to add it inside. So local kick animation equals instance.new animation kick animation.animation ID equals rbx asset ID : // and this is where you're going to paste in your animation ID. So there's mine. I'm going to parent the animation to the player's character, and I'm going to name it kick. Next, I'm going to create the kick track. Basically, that's loading in the animation on the animator. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to play the animation track. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is we want to go to the attack script, which is found under server script service. So we're going to go ahead and open that and start editing it. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is we want to get the replicated storage. We want to get the server storage. We want to get the debris service. And we want to get the attack remote event. So we're going to do local attack event equals replicated storage, wait for child, attack event. Now we're going to have a function for the attack. So local function attack with the parameters player and the attack type. We're going to connect the remote event to the function that we've just created. So attack event on server event connect attack. So the first thing we want to do is we want to get the player character. We're going to do local character equals player.character or player.character added weight. We're going to define a connection over here. We're going to get the right arm of the player. So character wait for child right arm. And we're also going to get the right leg. So it depends on which arm and which leg does the kicking and punching. But for me, the punch animation happens with the right arm and the kick animation happens with the right leg. So basically what we're going to do over here is we're going to connect a touched event to each one of these body parts. And when either the arm or the leg touches another player or an NPC, it basically damages them. So local right leg equals character wait for child right leg. And we're going to define another function, and we're going to call it do damage. It has a parameter called other part. So I'm going to skip that for now, and I'm going to go to the bottom of this attack function, and we're going to check what attack type it is. So if attack type equals punch, then we're going to set the connection equal to the right arm getting touched. So right arm dot touched connect do damage, and we're going to remove these extra brackets in here. Else if attack type equals kick, then we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to connect the event to the right leg instead. And we're going to wait 1 second before disconnecting the connection. So inside this do damage function, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to check if what we're attacking is actually a player or an NPC, and we're making sure we don't attack ourselves. So we can do if other part dot parent find first child humanoid and other part dot parent dot name is not equal to player dot name, then we can go ahead and continue. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to disconnect the function. So this basically makes sure we only attack what we're attacking once. Otherwise the touched event would fire many times, and then the other person would get damaged a whole bunch of times, and it'd be really unfair. And we're going to fire the remote event. We're going to fire client, and we're passing the player as an argument, and we're going to pass the number 2 as an argument as well. We're going to get the humanoid of the character that we've attacked. So local humanoid equals other part dot parent find first child humanoid. And we're going to do humanoid take damage 10. Now I'm also going to get the humanoid root part of the character that we've attacked. We're going to do local humanoid root part equals humanoid dot parent find first child humanoid root part. What we're going to do is we're basically going to add a body velocity to the humanoid root part of the character that we've attacked, so that they kind of like spring backwards. So basically I want to send them away. So what I'm doing over here is I'm going to get a direction that's opposite of the way toward us. So we're going to do humanoid root part dot position minus character dot humanoid root part dot position dot unit. And now we're going to create the body velocity. So local body velocity equals instance.new body velocity. We're going to do debris service add item body velocity, and we're going to make it last 0.5 seconds. Now we're going to set the body velocity. So we're going to set it equal to direction times 25 times vector3 dot new 0 game.workspace.gravity times 0.150. So we're going to make them bounce up a little bit as well. And we're going to set the body velocity's parent to the humanoid root part of the character that we're attacking. And if we want, we can kind of stun the player by making them platform stand. So we can do humanoid.platform stand equals true, and then task.wait1 humanoid.platform stand equals false. So I'm going to go ahead and test that. So we have a rig that we can test our animations and our combat system on. So I'm just going to play the game right now. Alright, so I'm going to go up to this rig and I'm going to press E and see if we can punch him. And of course I can't. Okay, so it's telling me that it can't find anything called right arm. And I've realized why. I think by default, Roblox sets all games to R15, so you need to set it so that the game is compatible with the animation types that you've created. So since I made everything in R6, I also need to set the game to R6. So you can change whether the game allows R6 or R15 by going to Game Settings. So since I've never saved this game to Roblox, it's prompting me to save to Roblox first, so I'm going to do that. Just going to name the game Combat System 1. Alright, so now I can go back into game settings, and I think it's under avatar. So game settings, avatar, and I'm going to select R6 because all my animations are in R6. And I'm going to save it. Would you like to proceed? Yes. Okay, now I'm going to test the game again. Okay, so it looks like my animations work, but do I do any damage? So let me get really close. Punch. Alright, it looks like we do. Alright, so he is getting damage, but he doesn't seem to be going back very much. And I think I know why. So in the attack script, I made a mistake. So instead of multiplying all of these three things over here, I should multiply direction by 25, but then I'm adding this vector 3 value. So change that multiplication to addition. So I'm just going to quickly play it again to make sure everything is good to go. Okay, there. So if I punch and kick him, he gets blasted away. But I think we can make this a little better. So I'm going to do two more things. I'm going to add a shake effect for whenever I punch or kick. And I'm also going to add a particle effect that happens when you punch or kick as well. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is we need to find the particles that we're going to have at the punch or kick location. So to save time, you can quickly go to the toolbox and you can just search up punch particles. So I'm just going to take the first one I see. So I'm going to get this one by Sturkers. And I'll leave a link in the description so you guys can find it too. I'm going to drag the part that it's under into server storage. And I'm just going to name it particles. So I'm going to go back into my attack script and I'm going to make some modifications. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is I want to get the attack particles from server storage. So local particles equals server storage, wait for child, particles. Next, under our do damage function, we're going to add a little section to it. So right after where the player takes damage, we're going to add a for loop, which will basically clone all of the particle effects that we just had, and we'll put it at the impact location. So we're going to do for IV in pairs particles get children do local particle effect equals particles wait for child v.name clone. So we're going to clone each one of the particle effects, and we're going to use the debris service to make sure that they disappear after, let's say, 0.15 seconds. And we're going to parent the particle effect to the part that we hit. And so that should add the impact particles. Now we're going to add the screen shake effect. So to do that, we're going to go back into the attack client script, and we're going to define a new function. So at the top over here, I'm going to create a function called shake effect, which takes in the parameter intensity. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to have a for loop. So for I equals 0, intensity times 10, do local offset. Oh, and before that, I need to define one more variable that I forgot. So we're going to have a variable for the old offset. So local old offset equals character wait for child humanoid dot camera offset. Alright, so back inside our function, local offset equals vector3 dot new math dot random -1 1 math dot random -1 1 math dot random -1 1, and we're going to set the offset now. So character dot humanoid dot camera offset equals character dot humanoid dot camera offset lerp offset intensity times 0.25. And then we're going to do run service dot heartbeat wait. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to set the offset back to the old offset. So character dot humanoid dot camera offset equals old offset. So this handles the shake effect. Alright, so the last thing we're going to do is we're going to connect the remote event to the shake effect function. So at the bottom over here, we're going to do attack event, unclient event, connect, shake effect. And then that should be it. So this is what the script looks like. And now we're going to test it. So I'm going to play the game, and we should have the particle effects and the screen shaking. So let's see. So I'm going to play the animation, and the screen shakes, and you can see the cool effect. So as you can see, we're doing about 10 damage every time we hit him. And there we go. We've defeated him. So that's how you can make a combat system in Roblox Studio. If you want to learn more about Roblox scripting, check out my Roblox scripting guide for beginners. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.